All right, let's get her going here on game day. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz. We're live on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, Sportsnet 360, and Sportsnet Plus. In about 35 minutes, we'll welcome in Ken Daneyko, three-time Stanley Cup champion, doing color analyst with MSG, covering the New Jersey Devils. Tonight, Jesper Bratt, who leads the Devils in scoring, will go up against Austin Matthews and the Toronto Maple Leafs with what could be tonight, Sammy, a preview of a Four Nations final between Sweden and USA.
Okay.
Does that excite you at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
You know what? I can't. There's three results I accept.
From tonight's game?
No, from the Four Nations face-off.
Okay.
Canada wins,
Yep.
number one.
Yeah.
Number two,
Canada wins.
America doesn't win. Number three, everyone comes home healthy. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
If Sweden or Finland wins, who cares?
Whatever. Event never
America wins,
Yeah.
then we got a problem.
I'm sure Bratt feels wonderful about that.
You know, Sheldon yesterday on our show sure talked up Mr. Brad, didn't he?
He did.
He talked about his lifestyle and how he lives and how he handles himself. That's one of those things you never really know
Yeah.
unless you follow a team.
Well,
super
his
close.
Leafs were boozing it up all those years.
That's right. A bunch of drunks. I don't know. We made that up. That's not true.
Guys, I can't get a lineup right.
What'd you do now?
Well, I just got a text from our boy Jake the Snake. He's like, horrendous spelling of my name. I just can't burn. I can't.
There's no C in Schultz here. Is that what we're missing?
Yeah, I think it might be time for me to quit. Make everyone happy.
Gotta leave that part out of the lineup or something.
Make everyone happy.
You are
Yes,
trying
yes.
your best, right?
I am.
Okay,
I'm
that's a
trying my
scary
best.
thought then.
That's not the answer you wanted.
No.
You wanted to hear
You
you've
wanted
been
to hear we
mailing
got
it
a
in.
mailing it in?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't know what the heck's going on.
I suck. What do you want from me?
Now,
No, you don't.
you don't have a good feeling about tonight, Sammy?
Oh.
I'm starting with you because you did kind of, we don't talk much before our show,
Yeah.
but you did
Mhm.
squeak out a little bit of a, I don't feel good about tonight.
I
You think
still feel this. I do think tonight, I felt pretty good about the Leafs in this last little while, just in terms of how they've been playing and how they've looked and some of the wins they've had. I even thought that they were okay against Pittsburgh on Saturday night with some mistakes mixed in there. Thought they were brutal on Friday against Washington. But going into this one, I don't know. I just don't have a great feeling about it. I really don't. I think that Keefe, after they lost that second game of the year, he was pretty pissed off after that game. I think if they're really going to show up for their coach tonight, tonight's a game where they're kind of buzzing around. They got Bastian back. I know it's not a big deal, but they're getting guys back in the lineup. Markström starting. He's been hot.
They got thumped 4-0 the other night.
Coming off a bad loss.
So with the thought of Max Domi going in again and the need for secondary scoring, you don't get that vibe, JB, that coming off a couple of losses on the weekend that they can find a way to get a second win in New Jersey?
There's lots of reason to be optimistic here. If you're a Leafs fan, Austin Matthews, they've talked about how he struggled a little bit to find it, but he's had enough games now, getting his feet back under him. Max Domi is back. We've complained about depth scoring a little bit, so maybe he can come back and provide some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Coming off a couple
He's had
losses.
a ton of goals.
Ton of goals. Coming off a couple losses themselves, you would think they'd be motivated. Pacioretty back in the... There is reasons to think the Leafs should be fine tonight, but I can't shake it either, Kip. I kind of feel like Sam does. Couple losses here, playing a good team in
really
New
good
Jersey.
team.
I think they're in tough. They're in tough tonight.
Okay, let's go to Craig Berube for our first Kyper's Clipper of our show on what he may see from the New Jersey Devils.
We got some great players over there, with tons of speed and talent. Power play is obviously number one in the league. They play a good brand of hockey. They do a lot with the puck, make a lot of plays. Like I said, great speed and very good power play.
But at least the Leafs have Jake McKee back, right? Guys? No?
He's
not
fine,
playing?
right? He's not playing.
So they're overcooking him.
Oh,
What, you think
yeah.
concussion?
I do, yeah. I mean, I'm not listen, we've been told day to day, they're trying to downplay it.
This
he
is
What else
lies
could
every
it be
day.
other than that?
we know their playbook on this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it always comes about with tell us how you feel. Is it McCabe now going, I don't feel right, or is it the Leafs saying,
You don't feel right.
take another night off?
I feel like they wait for the player to say, I'm good. And then the staff says, I'm good. And everyone's like, we're good. Okay, we're going to be 2 more days. Like they
Not a
just are
doctor.
being so careful. What is your thought on players telling them I'm not ready? I get some vibe from you on these sort of the player telling them stuff.
Under this scenario where a guy got a puck into the head, I tend to be on the side of being very careful. So
Other things less
other
so?
thing, well, I just think at some point, do I believe if this was a must win or the start of the playoffs, I think Jake McCabe would be playing.
Yeah.
And I do believe, I do buy into the theory that I've told you guys earlier that they've got a lot of depth now and they're not scared to keep guys out a little extra longer than we've ever seen in the past.
Yeah, old Philippe Myers played 18 minutes the other night alongside Morgan Riley, and I believe he's again going to be in that spot.
If there's a team that you want to get Jake McCabe back in the lineup to have your number one shutdown D pair back together, this is one you would probably would have circled.
Yeah.
Not Thursday against the Anaheim Ducks, no respect to the Ducks who, fought valiantly against the Montreal Canadiens last night. But like the Ducks as a team that's like, oh, you don't need to prioritize that. Tonight's the type of game that you need to prioritize.
What are we on? Is this like day 4 of day-to-day for Jake McCabe? Because we went...
No, we're game 4 of day-to-day.
This is game 5 he's going to miss, no?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's,
Yeah.
okay, you missed one, and then it was like, no, he's day-to-day.
But everybody got real tired of... You got real tired of the Austin Matthews day-to-day when it went to game 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So I'll give him one more game outside of this one to come back. And then I'm like,
Then you'll jump on board with
I'll jump on board with you. Okay?
I will give them the benefit of the doubt here with this one.
One more game.
No, that I think there is some, I think with a perceived concussion after getting hit in the head with a puck. I mean, I'm not sure what else it would be, but I think there's a little bit more up and down nature to that where you're maybe not quite as sure. And because I forget what game it was before, he took part in full practice where he was skating in the line, like they had the lines. He was part of the line rush's main unit out there. And then he didn't play in the next game. Then he kind of went back off a little bit. So there's a bit of a benefit of the doubt with him with that. With Matthews, I think
It's bad.
Anyways.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Let's get Craig Ruby's thoughts on Jake McCabe.
Jake McCabe won't play tonight. Max told me it'll be a game time decision.
You're expecting Jake back at some point this week, or is it kind of the day-to-day, how he's feeling?
Yeah, it's day to day right now, but yeah,
This
it's
guy.
day to day. Is probably the best way to put it right now.
There's a
Is
lot
there
of
any
days.
other way to put it?
There's a lot of days in the month, and on one of the days he'll be back that day or the other day.
And yet another
It's the plan.
another media availability where they're having it beside a blacksmith. I don't know where the hell they do these press conferences. There's-
Ford Automotive Plant
Old timey jail.
rattling a tin can against the.
So he misses
the
tonight,
bars.
and we see the Leafs play Anaheim at home on Thursday, and then go on the road Saturday night in Detroit. So we'll be covering that game Thursday night
We sure will.
for Sportsnet
Tune in.
Ontario.
Wanted to ask you, when McCabe comes back, are we sure that come playoffs, they're going to want to load up a pair, which is McCabe and Tanev, as the shutdown pair?
Yeah.
Or do we think there's a chance it goes back to Riley and
No.
Tanev, McCabe Benoit, which was a good shutdown, OEL in the third pair, and
I love Tanev and
Me too.
I love it too.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But this
Tanev
is
and
like
McCabe.
this is Matthews Marner to me, where it's like, are we sure it's best for the team that they're together?
Me personally is that your job is to get those other two pairs going by then.
It's like we found one. Now
That's
figure
right.
out the
Now
others.
we're gonna get you guys feeling comfortable enough over a very long stretch here of the regular season, so it's seamless going into the playoffs with our number one shutdown and arguably one of the best shutdown tandems now in the league.
Yeah, so you go Tanev, McCabe, Riley, Shen,
All right.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson,
So,
and
but this is
Connor
the point.
Timmins, and then that's perfect.
But this is the point, that OEL and Riley don't work. That's not a pair I like in play.
I don't want either of them playing on their offside, and one of them's going to play on the offside, and it's been
So
Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I don't want that.
Riley is we're back to that question.
Well, the 2 games Hakanpää played, he started with Riley.
Right. Then now it's Myers. Like, Riley's got to be like, like, good Lord, he only gets the 7th D.
So is that the onus on your partner, or is it the onus on, hey, Morgan, you need to step up here, and we need to see the best Morgan Riley possible. And if you're really as good as we still think you are, you should make anybody better.
Yeah, I think they want to squeeze whatever offensive juice they can out of him because they don't have any offense on the back end. And when he plays with someone like Shen or Labushkin or Hainsey or go through the list, he's a little more free to go. They know that someone is back. In OEL, you can't guarantee that. Myers, you can't be sure he can defend. You're just not sure. So, I don't know. Maybe they still need a D-man is kind of where this is going.
But I think that's what they thought they were going to get.
Tanev was going to be.
No, from Hakanpää, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I mean, they did give him a guaranteed contract for $1.5 million.
You didn't bring him in to be your first pair.
Yeah, but I don't think we can think of Riley as the first pair guy. Like, he plays I guess he plays the most, but like.
I don't think he does.
Well, he's up in over 20. I think Tanev's under 20.
I think McCabe plays the most.
So I just don't think you can think of him like that.
I think Larson plays too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's over 20, right?
Yep.
But this is like, if you had someone for Riley, then you have OEL in the third pair with someone like Benoit or Timmins, whoever. That's probably where you want him to win a Stanley Cup. You've talked about him being a third pair D before.
Mm-hmm. So
Benoit, your Luke Shen, maybe a Hakanpää. That's too much of this similar type of guy.
Yeah, but
Sammy.
I know, but you've been talking about how Hakanpää isn't actually going to contribute for the whole.
His knees are made of chalk.
I think I don't want to do the Shen thing again, so we can move on from it.
All right.
I've been doing it every show. I don't feel like I need to say my piece again.
Pacioretty or Domi?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go, JB?
The Domi stuff's funny.
Domi, I think, is interesting. You know, they're so desperate for someone outside of 6 guys, but really 4 guys to score goals. He is a great offensive talent. He skates. He's the sauce king. He is, you should call him Prego or whatever your sauce of choice is. But yeah, he's not scoring much. And Luke Fox asked him some questions today that I thought were really
So this is from yesterday at practice. And yeah, like they officially activated him off the IR today. Grabankin got sent down. He's a game time decision for tonight. But yeah, you got asked about the scoring from Luke Fox. If you want to play that clip there, Domi won there.
How much pressure are you putting on yourself when you do come back to score? I mean, I'm just guessing that, the lack of goals has to be bothersome, at least a little bit.
I would not say that at all. You know what? I mean, I think we'd all agree that if the team wins, that's all that matters. I could care less if you have 90 goals or 0 goals. If you're on the ice and you're helping the team win, you're doing your job and you're helping out. So there's always other ways you can help out, but certainly you want to play your best hockey and keep getting better on a daily basis. So I'll just focus on that.
Pretty good answer.
Yeah?
Yeah. You have a problem with it?
Big time.
Okay, tell me why.
I don't believe
Well,
it.
they need depth.
You think it took him off the hook?
Yeah, like I think he took himself off the hook.
Yeah.
And I think he is expected to provide offense. That's one of the reasons they paid him.
Doesn't work that way, though, right?
That you pay guys for offense, they don't give you offense, and
I don't necessarily. I could think of a few other guys that you would put that type of heat on, but he hasn't scored. He's never been a true goal scorer.
No.
So for people now to think, or for Max to give the impression in a pre-interview before the game that I'm going to come in and save the day like Mighty Mouse, it ain't happening.
But
I don't think it's unreasonable for him to say, "Hey, I'd like to get some goals," but
sure,
or whatever. He had
try
50
my
points
best.
last year. He's on pace for 23.
I'll try my best, but I'm just one of 20 guys. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to push as hard as I can, and I hope to get a bounce, and I can help the team out. But, like, I'm just one of 20 guys here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else he could have given you that would have made you feel better about. Would it have been too cocky or to come out and say, "Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm here now"?
No, I would like him to say, "Yeah, I'm frustrated. This is, I'm meant to be an offensive player and I can't produce. I'm on the power play. But listen, good to step away.
Yeah.
Happy to have a regroup here, and hopefully tonight I can come out and help us get on the board. We haven't been scoring enough."
That's pretty good. I mean, outside of the 4 forwards, he makes the most. So
I think
when you slot it in,
the energy that I just got off of you here would tell me that you've been off for how many days? We'll find out in a second. But there would be a level of frustration that you're bringing into my energy when you've been off all this time. And I don't think necessarily it's a good thing to hear your frustration after being away for 3 weeks to come in and say, I'm frustrated or I'm disappointed and that I haven't helped the team out more. Or like that's not what I want to hear from him. I want to hear exactly what he said, that I'm going to come in here and I'm going to be one of many out here.
Yeah.
And I can find a help.
Do you think that's authentic then? Let me ask you that.
I do think it's authentic.
Do you think he genuinely
I do.
Whatever.
I do.
Don't care if I get points.
I think he's absolutely correct in saying that there are ways that I can help contribute to a win.
Yep.
And it might not necessarily mean pushing the puck over the goal line.
Problem, I would buy into that if it were David Kampf being like, yeah, I win draws, I kill penalties, I defend like a hornet out there.
I'm not saying that he needs to avoid that. I just felt like he just needed to avoid it there.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
If tonight they get shut out 2-0, and he wants to say that in practice tomorrow or going into Anaheim, then I've got a better reason to say, yeah, maybe that could work.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that would work right now, being off for the amount of time he's been away.
but you will agree that they need him to produce.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I'm not dumb enough to sit there and say that he's been signed as a 50-point-plus guy.
He's the highest paid guy outside the core 4 players. They need him to score.
That can move.
That's fair.
Up and down the lineup.
That's fair that the team can expect that from him. He can at least not come in with some sort of negative energy. Why don't we listen to Berube, his coach, on his thoughts about Domi scoring the clip 5?
And how important is it for him to find his game, even before the injury?
Yeah, no, for sure. The score sheet, good goals. It's important. I think Max has got to maybe take a little bit different approach and not be such a selfless player and shoot more and just get into the net and greasy areas a little bit more. He's that type of player that, he can score goals there. He's a strong guy and heavy guy. So I think for him, and a lot like Nick Robertson, they got to get in the inside more and get around that net and score some greasy goals. And we need them to. We need those guys. We need secondary scoring.
Okay, one more. The Toronto Maple Leafs head coach is speaking. Can you stop pushing around the shopping cart right beside him?
Right.
Anyways, what the coach is talking. Just stop moving for 2 minutes.
All right.
Is it construction?
Good Lord.
It's like a basketball game going on.
What's going on? Anyways, but the clip is good. The clip is good.
Do you, though, I don't always feel great about a coach being like, our small guys need to get to the greasy areas more. It's like, Domi's, great vision, great passer. Just let him do his thing. He knows what he's doing.
As far as everyone else is concerned, in the bottom 6 here, where are you now on a sense of urgency? Because I do get it a little bit out of Craig Berube in those last couple of comments that, okay, that's enough. We need somebody to get to the net.
I think part of the reason I'm leaning on Domi here is because if you look they have so many guys in the bottom 6 who you literally expect to never score. Like, you're never asking Ryan Reeves to score, never Holmberg. Minton's played 4 games in the league, whatever it is. Lorentz, Dewar, they have so many guys. Camp, you just don't expect to score. So the guys who are expected to score a little have to score a little, or you're not getting any offense.
Yeah.
We do have a clip on this.
Would you put Pacioretty into that?
No, I expect him to produce a little bit.
Okay.
And what's he got? 2 goals?
Yeah, but in how many games? I feel like it's...
I don't know, 12?
Yeah.
Has he played a dozen? 14.
I mean, what would you expect? He has a season recently with 4 goals in 48 games.
I know.
So it's,
He's got 6 points in 14 games.
How many goals?
2.
Yeah.
2 goals in 14
Yeah.
games. Yeah.
And he's seen
Good minutes.
some decent
Good
minutes.
lines.
Yeah.
But listen, I told you guys earlier, I mean, what can you truly expect from a guy that you invited on a PTO?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you think they need to make a move sooner than like March 2nd or whatever the deadline is? Like, do you think they're going to need to bring in Offence?
I think if this trend continues, then I believe that they shouldn't waste much time.
Yeah.
That's not to say that there's a deal waiting for them anytime soon if, in fact, they want to push it. But I'd be a lot more aggressive, yes, because I do believe that the Atlantic Division is still up there. Sammy, are you kind of
Me? On the Atlantic?
you're losing a little bit of luster on a division win?
Let me pull up
with
the
the
old-
last
Yes,
2
he is.
losses.
Yeah,
Let me
he
pull
was
up the old
negative
stand.
Nancy at our desks before
Yes.
talking about
No,
the.
I'm not negative Nancy.
You were
Like-
talking about they're playing the Bruins for sure in the
Well-
first round.
Well, if they were to start today,
Yeah,
guess who they're playing?
the Bruins.
Yeah.
And I tell you right now, they're going to be playing the Bruins. Remember this. Remember that. Hey, remember this conversation right now.
But I've
December
remembered
10th.
it the last 4 years in a row.
Right now, though,
Right.
I'm saying I'll call my shot right now. December 10th of the year 2024. They are
Bold
100%.
pick,
They are
Sammy.
100% playing.
Bold pick.
Great.
Every year-
That's why it sucks.
every
Thanks,
year-
Gary. It sucks. There's no intrigue into the regular season. You're playing one of 3 teams
Oh,
every year.
stop it.
Oh, we
Stop
got to
it,
create
stop it.
rivalries. Great.
Stop it! It's not. It's,
Sammy,
like,
what
it's a
happened
done
to your-
deal. They're
this
2
feels-
points out of first
What
with
happened
the
to
game
this
in
field?
hand.
This feels different
I
this
think
year.
I think the team feels different. I 100% think that, but they're playing the damn Bruins in the first round, so maybe it's not so different.
Sammy, last year at this
They
time,
are.
they were 9 points out of first in their division.
Yeah.
Right now, they're 2 behind Florida with a game in hand.
But I think
It's
Florida's
not
better.
the same.
I think Florida's better. I think Florida's a better team. So I think
Like,
they're going to
that's
get.
great that you think they're
I think
incrementally better.
I think they're going to accumulate more points over the remainder of the NHL's regular season to finish above them, and the Leafs will finish in second. The Boston Bruins will finish third, and so therefore they play.
And also,
I'm
by the
thrilled.
way, were they to play today, it would not be the Boston Bruins. By points percentage, it'd be the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh well, I'm looking at the
That's because you're a Dumbo Joe.
I'm looking at the standings according to the NHL's website, and it says the Leafs and Bruins are playing.
Yeah,
so.
check the games played column.
Listen,
You need to go to the nurse's office and get a note and just go home.
why?
Okay? Because you're not feeling well.
I'm feeling great. I actually
worry.
here's something I'll say.
Everyone thinks I'm
I
gonna
actually
do.
would feel pretty good. About what's going on? I would actually feel pretty good about a playoff series against the Bruins right now.
Okay.
So that's different.
Okay. That's
That's
positive.
different.
But this is how it is. You know, you make playoffs, you play a good team in your division. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
Sport.
Craig Berube on Max Pacioretty.
I thought he was excellent in the first period. He was heavy, physical, won battles for those guys, created loose pucks for him, things like that's what he needs to do. And it was his first game back, so I thought that he died off a little bit going into the third period. First game back, it's expected. So, but that's what he does. He's a physical guy, big guy, good hands. So that's what we're looking for from him.
Died
Oh, boy.
off. Oh my God.
I tell you what.
Just vanilla for me.
Died off.
Just okay.
He may be black and blue by the end of the season because the ask from him
It's
will
changed.
be more than he's ever had his whole career. When was the last time he was on a hockey club that said, we don't care about anything, just go out there and hit everything that
Do you
moves?
think he knew he was signing to be Matt Martin? Do you think was he aware of the role that he had signed up for here?
Good point.
It's going to be
What
fascinating to
happens
see if
if
he
he
can stick with
starts
it.
to get challenged a little bit here and there? Because the tendency is with these type of guys that go around and,
gotta-
try to knock people's blocks off is that
Gloves might-
somebody's going to get tired of you.
Pacioretty hockey fight.
I don't know if he's ever. I mean, he's probably had one in his life.
Let's check out this fight card. Oh yeah.
No, he's had a few battles.
So one in 2024 against Tage Thompson. Then it was 10
Tage.
years prior his previous fight.
Tage, you fought
He
Tage.
fought
That's a
Ryan
big
Johansson. He fought Wade Simmons in 09.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
In 09. Jeez.
Oh, this is not chronological. Ignore me.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when they
Okay.
That one was 09 though.
Okay.
So
Shanahan.
Brendan Shanahan, yeah. We got a couple of clips of his. Do you want to get
Down
into
at the
that now?
Board of Governor meetings, they wrapped up today. It didn't sound like there's anything exciting going on other than the fact that they may have to negotiate a higher salary cap if it works for both sides.
Would you like to hear what Elliot Friedman tweeted out as the highlights of the BOG?
Okay.
Commissioner Bettman says there will be a negotiation with the NHLPA about the cap going up more than 5%. There are no active tampering investigations. The Florida Panthers are closing in and hosting an outdoor game. That
Florida
seems like,
Panthers outdoor game.
sounds like it could have been an email, boys. Anyways,
That's worth $1,200 rooms.
Shanny, I mean, he gave some. You just realize you hear him talk about hockey so little, Shanny,
Yeah.
right?
It would be lovely to hear it more.
And how
knows his
about we
stuff.
play the first clip, Derek? There's an overview of the season so far.
Well, I think there was a shift that began to occur in our team last year, starting with Brad Treliving and an intentional shift in a style of play. I think over the course of this off season, he was able to enhance that with the acquisition of some really key guys that he brought in, including a coaching change. So I think that the players are still kind of adjusting and adapting, but I think just the way that we began to play last year, and now you bring into it more defensive responsibility, better structure, better accountability from us as a group. And I give Brad and all of our scouts and that team and our coaching staff, not just Craig Berube, but his entire coaching staff, a lot of credit for that. We've still got a long way to go. I'd like to get some of these injured guys back. But definitely like some of the signs we've seen, especially on the defensive end and, the way we defend, the way our goaltenders have played. But definitely a long way to go.
There was a shift.
A shift.
So hearing that, it's interesting. He employed Kyle Dubas, and he obviously was okay with the direction of the team for a long time with Kyle Dubas, right?
Pretty much 9 years.
Yeah. So
And chose to keep Keefe too.
yeah. And him him saying the shift, it's like, well, you were the boss the entire time. You
He's
have to,
undergone a shift.
I guess
I think it's healthy for people to change their views.
he shifted.
He shifted.
That's what he's talking about. The shift is him.
Internal.
Yeah. I find that interesting.
Yeah. I mean, are they fundamentally that much different to you outside of roster construction? Like, to me, they're getting way better goaltending than they've ever got.
Way better.
And after that, they got some better players, like some better defenders.
Players, more discipline. I think that's the accountability. I don't see.
I was gonna ask about that part. Is there more accountability? You think?
How many odd man rushes? How many games?
Great point.
How
Great
many?
point.
How many blowouts?
I was thinking of accountability as like individual players being held versus
No,
accountability
I see
to the system.
accountability to play on the right side, and I get it. Sometimes it's not pretty to watch, and sometimes it can affect your stats. We had Chris Versteeg, Stanley Cup champion in Chicago, come on our show last week and talk about big boys giving up their points.
That was like an underrated part of that interview.
No.
It happened early, so we kind of moved on, but it was a great point.
It was a great point. So, look, Austin's not going to come close to what he's done 2 out of the last 3 years.
No.
Okay. I mean, does he end up with 40? I don't know. Maybe. Could he get hot and show us another level like he's amazed us in the past when it comes to putting the puck in the net? Maybe, but it's not trending there. So, what is everybody in for right now? Just trying to win, right? And it's not going to be
Al Davis.
It's not going to be about your points. Now, in saying that, Austin Matthews got to get going, boys.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not taking him off the hook either. I watched him Saturday night. And
you never have.
When have you ever had it on the hook?
Yeah.
The second clip, Derek, is very interesting too. On defense, team defense. Play that.
For all teams and all individual players, sometimes there's an arc in a career in which you sort of figure things out. And all we can do sometimes on the management side when we can't go on the ice and play is help people get there. give them the support they need. I've been really impressed with our players and their commitment to the defensive side of the puck. And it's going to be an ongoing year-long process. But if you want to win the big trophy at the end of the year, we've seen teams in the past that have decided and made a commitment. Sometimes it's personnel-driven, and sometimes it's just team-driven where a group of people have banded together and decided that they're going to play a certain way. So there's a lot of parity in the league right now. Every game is tough, but I do think that those metrics on our defensive end is really important if we want to get to where we want to get to.
Certainly seen.
Love that.
I love listening to talk about hockey.
I've seen enough to say that there has been ample proof that there's a style of play that we think that they could be really successful in the playoffs with.
Absolutely.
Right now? Like for
Over the course of 25 games.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Puck still needs to go in.
he made a very valid point in saying that can you bring it together when it matters most? And now we're on a 2-game losing streak. They didn't play well at all against Washington. Much better.
Still not great.
Against
better.
Pitt.
Yeah.
Better. So this one to me is an important one here.
Well,
right?
I don't be tight.
I don't want to. If you got a feeling like they could get blown out tonight, that's not a good sign. Like I'm banking on if they don't win tonight, then it's
You're concerned about their ability to bring it when they need
They better
to.
lose 2-1 with an empty net goal. Yeah. They better not lose like 5-1 because
3-1?
They've got better goaltending. They've had better structure. They don't give up a ton of odd man rushes. Yeah. They check hard. Like, it's okay if you don't win, but it's really important that if you don't win, then you still look a lot better than you ever have the last few years when you lost.
Speaking of good points of interviews, it was great Sheldon talking about their inability to score, and he's like, we couldn't score when it mattered most, and that's why I'm talking to you from New Jersey. He acknowledged their inability to find it at the right time is why he's not in this country right now.
We should go.
Yeah.
The clip he asked about Marner, he just says he's having a wonderful year and how elite he is defensively, but there's nothing about the contract, obviously. So
we got to get to Daneyko unless you want to add to it today.
No.
You sure you want to start that conversation before we got a break?
We got 15 seconds.
Yeah, we should go.
No, not a chance. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, Ken Daneyko, tough guy in my day. We had a couple battles, I think.
I bet he's a tough guy in today's day.
He'll still scare the heebie-jeebies out of us when he comes on board. Daneyko after the break on Real Kyper and Bourne. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. It's the Real Kyper and Bourne show. In a couple of minutes, we'll welcome in Ken Daneyko, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, color analyst with MSG, and all-around great guy.
Lovely. Very excited to hear about the New Jersey Devils. Fun matchup tonight. Did you played against Daneyko?
Yeah. He was just all meat, no potatoes.
How big is he? Big guy.
Big guy. Bigger than me.
All right.
I think he beat me up on a couple of occasions.
Okay.
Dano, you remember that?
Oh, I remember one time in Washington, Kyper, that we had a little bit of a set through there, yeah. But I don't remember much anymore at my old age.
Do you remember?
You only remember the ones you won.
Yeah. Any recollection of the Leafs beating the Devils earlier in the season? Because we had Sheldon Keefe on yesterday and asked him if he's going to put money on the board tonight. And he said, no, the boys gave me a big elephant dump on my head in the first game. I'm not going down that path again.
Well, yeah, I guess smart. Don't repeat what didn't work the first time around. But, yeah, the Leafs, that was early on. Leafs played a very good, I thought, road game, very sound. They've been much better defensively, as everybody knows, and kind of what was expected coming in with Berube behind the bench, a little more structured and disciplined. Although, having said that, I always maintain, watching the Leafs a lot last year in the playoffs and doing NHL Network, they played a real structured, solid game as well. They just couldn't put the puck in the net enough because I thought they played pretty darn well last playoff series against the Bruins. They just couldn't find a way to win, which so they were pretty structured again and maybe similar to Berube as well this year. But going to be a good game. Looking forward to it. Devils would like a little revenge, and they have not lost 2 in a row in a while where they've been able to bounce back. They showed a lot of resiliency after losing to Colorado the other night. So we'll see what transpires, fellas.
Ken, have you noticed a difference in the way the Devils play since Sheldon Keefe, or is some of the success just new players and some better seasons from the players that were there?
Yeah, I think it's a combination for sure. I mean, obviously last year teams never make excuses, but their goaltending was real bad. It wasn't. It was young guys that struggled. They had injuries, and they just could never really find their footing. But a lot of guys didn't play up to expectations, and that happens, unfortunately, to a lot of teams. And they wanted to bounce back here, so I would say a combination as far as they've made some great additions. They're a much tougher team to play against. They're able to, balance it out with the high-end skill and speed that they have. But Fitzgerald did a really nice job in the offseason of bringing in heavier bodies, guys that can win puck battles. We always talk about that, use that term, but it's half the game. I mean, who has the puck, and you have to be able to retrieve the puck and win some of those battles. They couldn't do that too often last year, and this year they just have a lot more composure. They're bigger on the back end with the 3 guys they added that play a little meaner style, a little more physical, and they've been still a work in progress, but a much improved, much better team. And Sheldon's been really good here. I mean, coming in, he had a lot of success in the regular season, and that's important because this team has to become a sustainable playoff team. We'll worry about the playoffs when they get there, but the point is he's brought in a nice balance of he holds those guys accountable. He's gotten through to the star guys that it's not just about producing offense. Yes, we all know they have to do their thing, and they have Bratt and Heischer and certainly Jack Hughes and Meyer and guys like that. But situational play, and I think that's where Sheldon's really improved the club as far as understanding that you got to chip it in every once in a while when you're up 3-2 or 4-2, and the star guys have certainly bought into that more this season.
We're talking to Ken Daneyko, color analyst with MSG, teeing up the New Jersey Devils, Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. As far as Jacob Markström's concerned, that's a name that we heard quite a while last season, and it never came to fruition. And then the trade in the offseason, and just what has he brought? I mean, you, of all, could speak of what a solid goaltender behind you can feel like all those years in New Jersey winning Stanley Cups.
Yeah, well, obviously I was very fortunate to have one of the best, if not the best, if I'm being biased, and not to mention he can handle the puck, so he probably the way he handled it, he probably prolonged my career, Kyper, for 5 years, because now when you're going hard back for the puck, I realized after about 5 years with Marty, I go, I don't have to get my face smashed in the glass and protect it every single time. I can peel off, and he can beat 2 forecheckers with a tape-to-tape pass. Right. So that was kind of nice being able to kind of ride off to the the half wall, and it was right on my tape, and then out of the zone. We joke about that still to this day, but he said, "Yeah, I wanted to help you with a little wear and tear, Dano." So that was kind of nice.
Saved
nice
your TV career, right?
Yes. Even though I still have a face for radio, they're still putting me on the TV. But all kidding aside, and Markstrom's brought some consistency. Look, there's been at times he'll have a hiccup or let in a goal that he'll tell you he wants back, or maybe have a bad period or bad game. But what he does bring, and that's why I think it was important for the Devils with Marty part of the team now as well, and as an executive in Fitzy, was the goaltenders are veteran guys. I know Allen's banged up and won't be the backup tonight, but it's day to day. But both guys have brought that veteran presence and steadiness in net where they make the big saves when you have to. Markström, no question, as the number one. After, he'll maybe let one in that you go, he's got to have that. He'll make 3 spectacular saves to keep you around. And he did that against the Rangers the other night where where it was a 5-1 final score, but I don't think that was indicative of the game. Devils got off to a good start, and then he made 3 or 4 just fabulous saves, and that's what he's capable of. He's athletic. He's a competitor. He's a guy you can tell wants to win bad. He enjoys being here, and he's certainly done a really nice job thus far for this team. And when your guy makes a big save, you know how you make a mistake. It's a game of mistakes, whether you're a defenseman, forward, turn the puck over, and if it's in the back of your net every time, it gets frustrating. Well, it's not always in the back of your net. He's been bailing them out when they do make that mistake, even though they are, like I said, much, much improved defensively and harder in their zone. And you have a lot of guys with good sticks. Pesci's been a great acquisition. Dillon's everything is advertised, physicality, and the one guy that's probably been a pleasant surprise, way better than any of us anticipated, but he has been damn good, and that's Kovacevic. He's just a real good, long reach, tall guy, tough guy, and he certainly uses his stick well, so, and brings a little physicality too. So it's a completely different makeup on the back end with Dougie Hamilton healthy, doing his thing on the power play or offensively, where he can beat a goaltender clean with that shot. He's got a terrific shot, as we know. So it's a different dynamic back there. And they've kind of worked together with Markström certainly making the big save when he needs to bail you out.
Dan, I was going to ask you about where you see the Devils slotting in that Metro, but I think the most important piece I want to get from you, you work for MSG Network, is what is going on with the New York Rangers? This is a team that the Devils are one spot ahead of in the Metro standings, but God, they can't get a win right now in New York.
As a rival, it must break your heart, Ken, to see them struggling and in turmoil.
Well, look, Kyper. I mean, obviously, everybody knows I bleed red and black, no question about it, and rightfully so. I've been here 40 plus years at the organization, whether as a player, or broadcaster, or ambassador. So I certainly want to see their success. But as a hockey fan, look. Nobody wants to see a team go through complete struggles. I've been there. We've been there as players. I've seen the Devils go through it for years here after my career, up and down and in between. And when you start to second guess and start, to play a tentative game, and I guess that's kind of what I've seen from the Rangers right now, that you're going to go through ruts. I always say it's a lot better now than maybe later on if you figure it all out. I mean, they have too much talent not to be a playoff team, not to be, a top team, really. But their back end a little bit has struggled. They haven't played as well. That's the bottom line. And I don't know if they, what they're going to do as far as maybe adding some depth, defensemen, whatever it may be. But defensively, they haven't been as good as they need to be. And they've got the all-world goaltender in Shesterkin. Has it been his best year? Maybe not. It's still damn good. But you sometimes – you get comfortable when goaltenders mask your mistakes for so long that when they're not superhuman and they're just real good, sometimes you're not going to win games. So maybe my analogy, how I look at it, I have no doubt, not that I'm asking them to figure it out, but they're a pretty damn talented team and a good team that I think eventually they'll figure it out, but you just don't want it to prolong too long. And you can say that for any team, really, right? I mean, every team's going to go through their struggles. It's getting through it. Even though top teams are going to lose 3-4 in a row, but it's how do you respond? Can you get out of it quickly? This league is so tight. The competitive balance is at an all-time high, and I look no further with the Devils being improved yet. They've been shut out a lot this year. I think 5 times, which is crazy because they played very well in some of those games. Probably 4 of the 5. But the puck just don't want to go. They get goaltended. So just every night it's a different adventure, I think, for a lot of teams, and the Rangers are going through it right now.
We'll look forward to the adventure tonight between the Devils and the Maple Leafs. Dano, thanks for doing this. Have a great call tonight, okay?
My pleasure, Kyper. And I can't remember that fight completely, so maybe you'll have to let me know. All kidding aside, always great being on with you guys. Take care, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was on the bottom, I'm sure, of the pile.
I found it.
Yeah, I just watched it.
It wasn't awful
It's
at
a
all.
tangle up. I don't think you get hurt.
I showed up.
You did show up.
Hey, I mean,
buddy,
you fought Ken Daneyko
against a tough guy.
I just showed up in the dressing room with needing new underwear. So you're a brave fella.
Yeah.
5 times he said that they've been shut out.
Shocking.
You kind of wish the Leafs could have come off a Devils win instead of
that would have
being
been much
shut
better.
out.
Yes, so
Right?
much better. Yeah, I know one thing. That's you're going to get a good effort out of that team tonight. So at least you're going to have to bring it, which is nice to hear because I think the Leafs are going to bring a good game too. So we might get ourselves a fun hockey game.
You know, I love hockey DB pages. Ken Daneyko, he must have the highest games played to goal ratio maybe in NHL history.
What do we got
He's
here?
gone
He
like,
played 1,283 games
how
in the
many
league.
goals?
36.
I wonder what the longest stretch he had between goals. Do you know? Can you look that up real quick? Was it like 6 years?
So we had TJ Brody go like 130 games here or something.
From 1999 to 2002, he did not score a regular season goal.
That's-
0-0-0.
Now,
Hey,
granted, I didn't.
That's
either.
just some hard luck.
I didn't get a break.
No,
Poor
but
guy.
like, I mean, he played 78, 6 assists, 98 PIMs. In the playoffs, he scored 23 games and they won the cup.
Like, you do think that you're on the ice enough, you hack a couple towards the goal.
That's amazing. This is an amazing hockey DP. And he played 175 career playoff games.
I will say, it even impresses me, guys, in the NHL, and the Leafs have several, who end up with no goals. Like David Camp, so you know, like a guy who played 15, 16 minutes a game for the Leafs, just stand in the crease. The puck goes to the crease.
It
hard.
is so hard.
So hard.
to
Good league.
score
Good league.
in this
So
league.
hard.
Good league.
I get it. I
mean,
get it. I do.
Like, how many games has Max played this year? Right?
20.
He's a pretty talented guy.
Yeah, of course.
And yes, he could shoot more often, as Craig Berube has alluded to, but it gives you some idea. Very talented guy. Hard to
But
shoot
Berube's
it in the
point is like he needs to just go, like if you stand around the goalie and it's a hard place to just stand,
Yeah.
they don't let you just stand there.
Yeah.
But the puck will go there.
We've also seen probably in the last week or 10 days when Nick Robertson was in, he was just almost tunneled vision
Yes.
to
Oh my
put
God.
it in the net. It's like, must score.
Yeah.
Hockey and Nick Robertson are two different sports.
Yeah,
Dan.
he's
It's just
out there
like,
trying to
I'm
score
Nick
goals.
Robertson.
I'm the goal shooting
And
machine.
You can kind of go over the top too sometimes. It's hard to find that balance.
Yeah, we talked about him celebrating that goal he scored to break the 19-game drought. And he was just like,
That was a little bit.
I did the thing I need to do for me.
And he hasn't done it since.
He's back in there tonight.
Yeah.
Off a healthy scratch. He played 9 minutes against Washington. Didn't get in against Pittsburgh. They need goals. He needs to get rolling.
I mean, I will say, if this is for me to say this about Nick Robertson, this tells you a lot about Alex Nylander, but like, he should be in over Nylander.
Oh, good Lord, yes.
Like, there's no.
Is Alex still with the team?
Yeah. Grabankin went down today.
Okay.
So, like, I guess he's a healthy scratch. He's still around the team or whatever. He may get in still if Domi doesn't play tonight, game time decision, right?
Like, Alex Nylander may make hundreds of thousands of dollars this year just because they need Grabankin to play and have the puck and be in the minors.
Yeah.
And Willie loves having Alex around.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a body,
I think that matters.
what's that?
You think that like plays a.
Willie thing?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
You do? Kipper?
I'm sure it came up in discussions
Like, I don't know that
during
he's.
his contract.
I think he chose this organization in the first place because
Yeah,
of Willie.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Was it a clause?
So it had some-
Claws. Now we're just being
Alex has
now
to-
we're just being nasty. We
Woke my
should go.
brother up. No, we're just kidding. He's, you know what? He played well in the minors.
He had double-digit NHL goals
he
last
was-
year. We're
he
just
was-
talking about how hard it is to score.
He was next man up with the Marlies, but
absolutely true.
I know a lot of guys that were next man up but couldn't make that next push.
Tough.
Okay, don't go away. When we return, Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG. Good time to have him on. Tons to talk about NHL trade. Trouba. Can't wait. Don't go away. More Real Kyper and Bourne after the break. We go national on the Real Kyper and Bourne show. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a couple of minutes, we'll welcome in Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG, CEO of Clear Sight analytics. Just moments ago before we came on air, we had Ken Daneyko on our program on the last hour. I mentioned a fight that I had with Ken Daneyko, and
You had
I
a
don't
couple.
know, somebody found it upstairs, played it, and I just watched it.
And
I got my head pummeled.
Was it like having like Vietnam flashbacks? Like
I'm watching it going, well, number one, I'm getting a headache watching it. And number two is like, how did I not soak my head in a bucket
I don't know
moments
how
after that?
Hey, listen, you
stood in
hung
there.
in there with a big tough man who played 1,230 games and scored 3 goals or something. So he knew what he was
score
doing.
a goal
at that.
for 3 seasons.
he knew what he was doing at that department.
Last year of his career, though, he scored 2. Lit it up.
Ooh.
And you can tell through, like, as filmy and gross that film was, I had better hair.
Far better. Oh, jeez, wasn't even close.
I mean,
It's probably why he fought you in the first place. I'm mad about your lid.
well, you're not follically challenged now. None of us are.
Getting there. What do you think?
Right?
I'm in a battle for my life.
Are
over
you?
here.
You're fighting
no,
for your
you're
life?
not.
Yeah.
No, I am. I'm dying. Hanging in, bud. It's
How
not
old are
long.
you?
Not long. I'm almost 42. I know.
I think you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I actually, I made a deal with the Lord above and said, get me to 40. By then now I'm married and I have a job. It's like, all right,
Listen, as
do
long
what you got to do.
I don't care what color it is, as long as she keeps growing.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Good time to have Steve Valiquette on.
Oh, why? What's
Great
happening?
Rangers.
Oh, yeah, Rangers.
Rangers talk.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
The Rangers lost 2-1 to the Chicago Blackhawks.
Now the Leafs play New Jersey. Do you think there's a chance that Jack Hughes goes in on a one-handed breakaway?
I hope so, and I hope he
Tonight?
scores.
All right, let's welcome him in. Steve Valiquette, always on a Tuesday night. Oh, the Yankee hat. What does that mean? What does that mean?
We lost Soto this week, so I'm trying to just change it up.
Is it helping?
No, nothing's working, boys. We're in.
Does the attention of Soto going to the Mets help Ranger fans the last week?
It doesn't, because you know how it is here in New York. There's a small fraction of Ranger fans compared to New York Mets and Yankee fans, but they're intense. And I see them as I walk from Grand Central to MSG, and people are losing their minds, Kyper. I can't hide it.
So fascinating to know, what's going to stop this Rangers slide, Valley? Like, I don't think it's goaltending that's hurting them. It certainly didn't look like it last night. So what's going to change?
Great question. I sent you guys a tweet about an hour ago, and it was really off of hearing Chris Versteeg talk to you guys about star players giving up a little bit.
Wow.
On the offensive side of the puck. I thought that conversation was great. And because it came from him and he played and won Stanley Cups with star players, it just carried a lot of weight with me. So I went back and I started looking at how these guys performed as stars in their cup winning seasons. And I went over the last 10 years. And when Chicago won, Kane had 64 points. Taves led the team with 66 points. Clearly, those guys gave up something on the offensive side of the puck to win. Crosby, 85 points and 89 points in the 2 cup seasons that he's had, his 2 most recent cups. Ovechkin, he had 49 goals the year they won, but that's the 10th highest goal total of his career. Clearly gave something up to be able to win. And you keep going through. Ryan O'Reilly, he was the leading scorer for St. Louis with only 77 points the year they won. Skipping by the 2 Tampa Bay years because Sammy said they don't qualify. And then go to Rantanen, Colorado, and Eichel and Reinhart. I think it's a fascinating conversation because I think the hardest thing for coaches to do is to get their star players to check the right way. And when they do, it's most oftentimes what Versteeg was saying, giving up a little bit, ending a shift, one more rush sooner, line changes with speed, all of the small things that these guys need to do a little less offensively. The graphic I sent you guys, it's the highest event team I've ever seen. I mean, hockey. It's ridiculous. They have this amazing offense. They don't have the highest conversion rate, but they get glorious chances up and down the ice. And you can see it on our screen here, the right side of the panel. I've never seen defense that bad, guys.
Crazy. What a board. Thank you to Jake the Snake for getting this up there.
Yeah, well done. I didn't know we can do this every time. I'm going to start building graphics now.
You know, upgraded the budget over here.
I've never seen this, fellas. I've never seen it this bad. I've been working for MSG for 10 years. I've never seen the team play this poorly defensively.
Wow.
Valley, I get that coaches want this now on a 200-foot game, but like, where are we like as the game over the last 15, 20 years when people were screaming for more offense and rules were changed to open up the game, and all these kids were told, go, score. And now what do? Is the horse out of the barn here? Can you actually pull some of them back?
You know what? It's so easy to do to me. It's so easy to do. Bourne, you're going to like this one because it goes back to the Islanders. It was during the Doug Wade era. They went really offensive. Barry Trotz came in and reeled that team in. Do you remember how that 17-18 team, they gave up the most goals in the NHL that year? They gave up 293. They were the worst team defensively. But the next year, they only gave up 191 goals and finished in first. How do you go from being the worst to first defensively in a single season? You do it by stick detail. And they gave up east-west passes the year that they were last, 144 chances versus 1 year later where they only allowed 92.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a difference of like 22 goals. And that's just for stick detail, back pressure, take away time and space. You look at the 2 goals that Shesterkin allows last night. Once again, it's Chicago, yeah, but time and space. If I give you a backdoor pass and you can handle it, corral it, and shoot it, Bertuzzi's goal, he had 3 Mississippis on it. And it was a low east to west play. There's always got to be coverage there. But I know you can do it because I've seen teams do it in the past. And I think the best example is that 17-18 to 18-19 season from the Islanders.
That's fascinating because that does imply some coaching concerns, and the seat has to be getting reasonably hot there as they panic a little bit. Good to
Just
turn the page.
it.
Oh, what's that?
No, just buying.
Yeah,
Hey,
buying from the
boys. I do have one thing to add to this because I remember being on the bus with Mark Stahl, and it was the year after Carolina won the Stanley Cup. And I said to Stalzy, I said, what's going on with Eric? Are they going to miss the playoffs? And he said, what happened with Carolina the year after they won the Stanley Cup and they missed the playoffs that very next year, Eric said to Mark, at the beginning of the year, Cam Ward was standing on his head. We weren't really playing well for him. Then we started to score. He wasn't giving us saves. It was just a mismatch of timing. Mm-hmm. But that's how you miss the playoffs. If you don't have your goalie in sync with the rest of the team concept at the same time, you can have a season from hell. And every sport, every year, somebody has a season from hell that you don't anticipate. Last year, it was the New Jersey Devils. Right now, the Rangers are going through it as, you could say, Nashville Predators.
Do you want to move off the Rangers or ask him about Trouba?
Go ahead. Just stick with that.
Just whatever comment you got on Trouba going to Anaheim, and he had his debut against Montreal last night, and I thought he played well.
Yeah, look, I think that it was doomed from the start. You guys know what it's like in the locker room. As soon as you feel like there's been a sense of betrayal, you're never going to be there as a player. You can do everything. You can work with a sports psychologist. It's so hard to get over. When did the hockey world first feel like a business? The first day I was traded, and I'm no longer wearing the crest that I was first drafted by, and that hurts. And I can imagine when Trouba was told that we'd like to move on from you in the summer, that captaincy certainly wasn't as near and dear to him as it was when it was first put on his chest. Mm-hmm. Just the way it is.
Another thing that we know that you're well in tune to is Georgiev in Colorado and things not going great for him there. He ends up getting traded. What's your assessment of his season, a guy that the Rangers once thought was a pretty darn good goalie?
I thought this was really fascinating because looking into this today, I have a page within our app where I could see what a goalie faces, and I use the term environment, just the overall array of difficulty of shots faced. And sometimes you can have two goalies in the same team where one guy just happens to get the bad run of cards and the other guy gets the easier starts. It's been debated in the locker room for years. Now, this to me is interesting. San Jose, they've allowed the most scoring chances overall this year in the NHL with 924. It's 50 more than the next worst team, Pittsburgh. San Jose has also allowed 525 low danger shots. Those are the easy ones, which is 76 more than the next closest team, Detroit. But Blackwood's environment when he was there in San Jose, it's the best in the league because he has the highest volume of low danger, which lowers his overall per shot value. So if you get a lot of easy ones and then you face a hard one versus starting a game, Colorado starts really slow and they usually give up 2 or 3 grade A's in their first 5 or 6. That's a tough place to play. I wonder how this is going to go for Blackwood, who by every sense I get from listening and reading on Colorado, they're heavily influenced in analytics and they use it often, I think maybe even too much. As far as bringing it into the locker room. What I've seen is that a goalie, and you guys know this one, doesn't always perform well when they're not getting volume. It's not for everybody. It's like back in the day, we saw Cujo have a difficult time in Detroit. And sometimes it happens where you might think you're getting something, but he's not the best fit for you. But Blackwood is athletic. He's a freak in the gym. We just hasn't proven yet that he can play in one of those winning environments. And this is going to be a different pressure cooker for him. But I also think for Georgiev going to San Jose, he's more of a rhythm goalie that's going to benefit from getting a lot of action and then facing the high danger. In fact, both teams over the last 10 games have faced the same high danger chances, 65. So the San Jose goalies have faced 65 high danger chances over the last 10 games, as have Colorado. Same number. But when you juice it up with the extra low danger, it becomes an easier place to play in San Jose, if you can imagine that.
Hey, Valley, so we saw Scott Wedgwood get traded there and then Blackwood get traded there. And we've seen goalies get traded mid-season. But have we ever seen two that closely together? Like, to me, that's like trading a line or trading a defensive pair. Like, you traded your goalies, both of them. You bailed on them in 29 games and then just went redo, mulligan.
Well, in a lot of ways, I would say there's been a lot of mismanagement in Colorado going back to 2 years ago. I believe Georgiev had the most wins in the NHL over the last 2 years coming into this year, but it's also been multiple starts and 3 and 4s. And I think that especially last year at the end of the year, they ran him pretty thin. I think it's a lot. It's the first time it's happened this early in the season. I do know that. I read that. It's the first time in the NHL, in the history of the NHL, that the two goalies from starting night to this point in the season have been replaced, which I think is fascinating. Something we most likely don't see again. But it looks to me like in Colorado, they are blaming the goalies for their bad start. And you know what? To be fair, Georgiev did have a very poor first 5-7 games. And he has recovered since. He won 6 games in a row, but then maybe the damage was already done. You know how that goes.
So tonight, it looks like Thatcher Demko is going to get back in for the Vancouver Canucks. What are you expecting from him?
Well, it's fascinating because he's backed up the last 2 games. And that's a strange one for me.
Right.
Backing up, coming back from injury, and possibly having to go in cold. I really wonder about that. And the fact that he's getting in there, I expect the most from him. Top 5 all day, every day goalie in the NHL. I'm going to be watching that game closely. I know what he can bring technically. I know what he brings mentally, and I know what he brings physically. He's one of the best goalies in the league. And if he can stay healthy, what does that do for Team USA in the event that Hellebuck isn't at his best, which sometimes the pressure cooker gets to him?
I don't know what kind of stretch you've ever had between games, but give us your best thoughts on what it would be like for him to go in there for the first minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What are you looking for? What do you want? You want to be busy early? You want to slowly get into it? Like, what would be going through his mind?
You want shots. You know what, Kyper? The best that you ever feel is typically the first game into training camp after a great summer of getting your structure. And knowing Thatcher Demko and how he trains and how he is diligent on the ice, I think structurally and his fundamentals, his game plan technically is going to be strong because he has that foundation and he can rely on it. And I'd imagine he comes out and has a great game. It's going to get a little more challenging 2 weeks from now because you lose that buzz. And I think, Bourne, I've heard you talk about how, you know, when you're in the American League and somebody comes up from the East Coast League and they have a buzz for 12 games and then they settle back to who they are.
Right.
I experienced that one a lot, saw it a lot with guys coming up and down. There's going to be a buzz for him. I think the challenge of weeks 2, 3, and 4 for him are going to be, he's not going to really have the practice time to rely on his technique after he gets back into the thick of the season. That might be where there's more of a lull. I expect him to get off to a great start because of his pedigree.
Just one more on Vancouver.
Yeah, please.
Just in terms of Lankinen playing well and not pressing him into action, how important has that been?
Well, that saved their season, hasn't it? Like having that depth has really saved them. They're in a position to maybe charge now if Demko can stay healthy throughout. He's the rock back there. There aren't too many number ones right now. There aren't too many true number ones. And Thatcher Demko is a true number one. And now he's got a support system too. So look, we talked about playing through some pain and playing through some discomfort. And possibly what I'm going to be watching closely for is how is he getting in and out of his posts? How are his connections? Because that's where the stress is on the knee. It's getting down into the reverse. And I felt for a long time that he was overly reliant on it, which is really hard on the body. And the goalie coach there that's not there any longer, Ian Clark, I used to always wonder about how hard these reps were on his body because, as I've told you guys, I've been in the net now and doing it, and it's a mistake. You know, it's a big time mistake for a young guy to spend too much time using that reverse because it's so hard on your body for the long term.
Mm-hmm. So looking around Canada, Stuart Skinner is a guy who is kind of under scrutiny in terms of, can he be good enough that the Oilers can win a Stanley Cup? We know they got darn close. The answer is very likely yes. Is he a guy that they wanted to roll that dice with again this season? I think depended on his play. Last 4 games, he's a .941, .964, .938, .935. He's playing very well. 5 of his last 6 games actually have been very good. Do you believe that Stu Skinner is a guy who can be one of these? Can he be good enough for them?
Has to be, Borny, because I don't see where you're going right now around the league to get anybody better with a better option.
All the Wood goalies are gone. There's no one left.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. No, like after the last, I'm looking at a list here that has the top 10 goalies over the last month. And Skinner's number 9. And Binnington is number 7. Montembeault is number 4. Aiden Hill is number 2. Gustafsson is number 1. But, you know, I just rattled off 4 out of the top 10. They're Canadian goalies. So the Canadian guys, I don't know if there's juice behind wanting to get in there. And I can only imagine what these guys are thinking, knowing the attention in Canada. Like, we're not getting a sniff of this here, guys. I haven't heard a sniff about the Four Nations anywhere around New York. Nobody's talking about
Really?
Nothing. So I can only imagine, though, that these guys being a goalie and knowing that there is a talking point about whether the goaltending is going to be good enough. I don't think it's just a coincidence that over the last month, 4 of the top 10 performing goalies in the NHL are Canadian.
Valley, where are you on John Gibson since he's been back? He's probably, if teams were looking for a goalie, I think they would go to Gibson next here. So there's Carolina question marks. And if Edmonton does falter a little bit between the pipes and it gets to a critical stage in the season, would you ever entertain Gibson?
You know what I would do, Kyper? I'd have a long conversation with him about making some adjustments. And if he had a willingness to do that, I'd work with him. But I think for a long time, he hasn't changed. He has been the easiest pre-scout for the last 5 years. He is so shot focused, so locked in on the open shot that he's willing to, in my opinion, give up everything on the pass. And as we've seen the game over the last 5 years with more and more east-west, I think there's more and more reason for exposure there. I go back to the Stanley Cup final where Washington beat Vegas, and they saw early on that Marc-Andre Fleury was pressing on the first shot. And in that series, they went 11 for 14 east to west. That was the number I got from a really good source. And, you know, I saw that happen, and I said to myself, this is where pre-scouting is really showing its weight in gold if you can do it the right way now, especially in the playoffs. And I don't think you can win with a goaltender that can't stop an east to west. Not if you're all the way in on a shot. And Gibson has the ability to do it, but I just haven't seen him adjust. I'd want to have a long conversation with him about talking to him about, are you going to back up off the rush? Are you going to have some pace so you can flow and have some east to west movement in your game? Because locking on is not going to work if we're going to win.
Last one for me, just a quick thought on Montembeault and what's his environment been like? He's a guy that, you know, maybe the surprise pick for the Canadian team, but excuse me, I've liked him quite a bit. Looked really good last night.
Yeah, I agree. And he's been a funny one for me because it's always hard sometimes to get to strike a balance between how difficult this guy's environment is. And it's a night-to-night thing, especially when you're a young goalie and you get beat up for 6 or 7, and then you're back in because there's really not a big, wide casting safety net that I can rely on and not have to be able to carry this baggage all by myself. And starting with last season, I did a bunch of research for a team on who had the highest save percentage on screens. And I spent quite a bit of summer time research-wise on him because he led the league in save percentage on screens last year. And I noticed just a lot of battle in his game. The only thing I've ever questioned with him is his overall fitness because he just still looks like a guy that's a little doughy to me, you know, yeah. And I know that because I was that guy. You know, it took a while for me into my mid-20s, late 20s, really, to get myself in a top shape. And then what I realized from that was I could go longer in practice. I could have a longer practice, which allowed me to have more quality reps and then just be a little bit better when games begin. And I think that he still has more ceiling that way, more growth that way, but he certainly has fight in the game. He certainly has that battle level in the game. So I think it's great news for Canada. I mean, you've got, a pretty good battle here at the top of the standings going into this tournament.
Just one more Valley for me, and that's in Calgary, where plenty of fight early out of the Calgary Flames, but I think winners of 1 out of the last 7 here. How important it now is it to kind of, you got Wolf, who looks like every bit a tremendous goalie, up-and-comer, but how important is it to protect him a little bit in the next little while?
Yeah, I would, and you guys know how I feel about him. He's one of my favorites to watch right now, and it's really game to game. Just don't let him feel too much of the burden right now, because you can go outside of what you're capable of doing and be sometimes to your own detriment too responsible. Some goalies will place blame, and some guys can hurt themselves by taking on too much. And we've seen that over the years unravel some really good careers. And I sometimes just wonder, can you just insulate and keep him safe? Because I love the way that he plays, because he plays deep for a smaller goalie, but he advances when he has a clear read that it's going to be a one-on-one. He doesn't sit back. And that's not an easy adjustment. I've talked to quite a few goalies this year about making that adjustment, and it's not an easy one. And he's very comfortable doing it because he's so explosive laterally.
We'll let you get back in line for your Mets season tickets.
All right, boys.
Although, is that hat corduroy? It's actually kind of a nice hat. I hate to admit it. I like that. That's pretty slick.
I usually wear this one in the late fall games.
Yeah, very classy.
Valley, as always, man, fantastic stuff on our program. We sure appreciate it, man. Thanks.
See you, boys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Valley. Appreciate it.
Steve Valiquette, CEO, Clear Sight Analytics, and of course, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG.
So many good things.
Great, yeah. He's from Etobicoke. Why is he wearing a Yankee hat? Come on.
He's an MSG guy. He lives there.
Blue Jays.
Come on.
Hey, Sammy, a no-brainer.
I could live in New York City my whole life. I'm not put that damn hat on.
I still got. I threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium.
Did you?
What? Yeah.
Cool.
Did I ever tell you the story?
After you won the Cup?
After we won the Cup.
Really?
I'm like, it's been about like a week and a half after we won the Cup. I'm like taking it easy. I'm finally sobering up.
Yeah.
I got a call from Mess. What are you doing? I said, I don't know. I'm going to get a haircut. He goes, that's too bad because we're going to go throw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium. You want to come? I'm like, I'm canceling my haircut.
So like multiple of you threw it?
The whole day, Yankee Stadium. And I'm blown away because we had this mentality of game day where you just work yourself up.
Yeah.
And then to the point where like at 6 o'clock when the music shuts off, you're like zoned in beyond belief.
They play 162 times. They're just smoking
This
cigarettes.
is like 15 minutes before first pitch, and they got like buffets coming out and shrimp, and it's like, I want to be a ball player.
Yeah. $760 million deal.
You want me to bring my warm-up jacket in?
No, your Yankees warm-up jacket?
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. It's so I can burn
the old starter one. Remember those?
Wow, my God.
I'm not going to say that's not cool.
Kyper's craft is getting hot all of a sudden. But there's, there's a big like dynamic with the sports fans in New York that it's excuse me, it's Yankees, Rangers, Giants are usually the three that's together, and then everyone loves the Knicks, and then it's Islanders.
No.
Well, like, don't they all love the Knicks?
Mets, Jets, Nets.
But the Nets aren't even really a thing, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess. I thought most people just like the Knicks.
Mets, Nets, Jets, Islanders.
And Islanders. That's it. So it's like, it's not often that you're going to find a Mets fan that's a Rangers fan or like a Yankee fan that's an Islander
you're either
fan.
like a downtown Manhattan sort of New York fan or...
Love that stuff. Wish there was a bunch of teams here that we had those
We
dynamics.
sure could.
See those Yankee fans like outside Shea? What's the new stadium? The
Citi Field.
Citi Field.
Yeah.
And they're like ripping on it. It's a dump.
Yeah.
They're
Which,
just
by the way,
killing
is
it.
not a dump.
It's the opposite of a dump. Isn't it a brand new stadium?
Wow,
It's
he's
nice.
just showing
Yankees
this
is
one
marble
angle.
and...
Not the stadium. The area around it.
Total dump.
Right? I'm not talking about the brand new stadium. I'm talking about like the Yankee fans are ripping on like the neighborhood.
When Juan Soto is flown on Steve Cohen's helicopter from his palatial home, I'm sure he's going to be devastated about the area around the stadium.
Descends the stairs made of clouds from his palace in the heavens.
Imagine like gets paid $765 million. You don't have to move.
Yeah.
You don't even have to move.
Not too shabby.
You stay in the same house you're living or whatever. It's like,
You're just going to get a bigger one now.
I wouldn't move. It's not worth $765 million to move.
So while we were on the air, Jason Murdoch, who does stats with Sportsnet, sent me a couple things on Daneyko on the chat that we had.
Oh.
The research, I got two things for you. Most games that he went without scoring a goal.
Oh, my God, yes.
256. Almost three. Is that 3 full seasons plus some of hockey?
That you're playing probably 15 nights. Like one of them's got to go off your ass.
Well, 15 minutes.
15 minutes a night.
He played more than that, wouldn't he?
15 minutes a night, 20 minutes a night. Probably top second pair, sometimes third pair.
Let's see if I can find how much
That's
ice he
wild.
actually had.
The next question is most games with 40 goals or fewer. So who's played the very most? He's second. Only one person in history
has played more
games
and scored
not
less.
got
So it was
to 40
close.
goals.
Who is it?
I love the answer.
Okay, wait. Give me an era.
I'll tell you, he has been a recent head coach in the NHL. And the era was Daneyko's era.
A defenseman?
God, I don't even know the answer to this.
Has to be a defenseman, please.
I don't. Yeah, I would assume so. It would have to be. I'm embarrassed. I don't know the answer, but I feel like he's a forward. But
anyway,
well, now I'm going to say Craig Berube.
It's he's not on the list. Luke Richardson.
Oh,
was he D or forward?
No, defense.
He was. Okay.
Defense.
I mean, you'd have to be. You'd have to be.
A very stay-at-home.
He never
he never left the driveway.
Get out of bed.
Stay at home. He's in his basement.
Never left.
Yeah, 14-17.
Never went out the front door.
With 35 goals.
35 goals. And then, so the rest of the list is Craig Ludwig, Sean O'Donnell, Mark Bergevin, Hal Gill. That's the six guys.
That's phenomenal stuff.
Hall of Shame.
Well, they did other things.
Just kidding.
Ludwig blocked a million shots.
Way better careers
Yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with
than
any
I
of
ever
those
had.
guys, really.
I
Ludwig.
tip my hat to all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, Sammy.
Game time? It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. It's for 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Lots of games tonight, boys. I think was there 11 or 12 games tonight?
Lots of hockey.
The Colorado Avalanche are in Pittsburgh to take on the Penguins. Sid playing his future team. The Colorado Avalanche are huge favorites in that game. I would imagine I haven't seen anything, but potentially the first start for Blackwood. I'm not sure, and I haven't seen anything for
One
sure.
of the
but
guys who hasn't played there much.
one of the Woods is going to play in that game. Pittsburgh has been playing a little bit above their skis recently.
I think they're coming.
I like the Colorado Avalanche tonight. I even like them by a -1.5 at +130. I think Colorado wins big tonight, and they run them out of the gym.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to Colorado being good, but I do think Pittsburgh's going to be okay.
They're going to have so much juice right now, thinking that
we're back.
Gone to another level now.
100%. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Blackwood, I think, has got a shot at being really good there.
Yeah,
and
I like the bet.
I'm looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs game for tonight, and I was trying to see, but I guess they don't have it up because of they don't know if he's playing for sure or not. But I was trying to find the number on a Max Domi goal because I feel like he might score tonight. But that's unfortunately not up yet because I don't think they know if he's playing or not for sure. So how about I go to the other Max Pacioretty, the other Max who scored in their first game that they played there. He's getting back in the lineup. He's playing with the top two guys. Give me a Max Pacioretty anytime goal tonight at +375.
I have bet the Devils to win in regulation, which I think you are about +110.
I don't think that's an awful bet at all, sir. And a really good one later on tonight on Sportsnet 1, the Tampa Bay Lightning in Edmonton to take on the Oilers. The Oilers are big favorites on their home ice, -155. A lot of value with the Lightning, +130, but the Oilers are starting to look like the Oilers again, so that's a tough one for me.
You know,
love that game.
That's a hell of a game.
No, I got a good one for you too. Boston in Winnipeg.
Ooh,
that one.
We had good hockey tonight.
Of intrigue in that one.
And Thatcher Demko returning.
Oh my God.
Some decent hockey games tonight. Anyways, that was Game Time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
I'm actually thrilled to watch hockey tonight.
Okay, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll get into some news and notes, including a very hot shooter with the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, yeah, and we
remember him?
I do. What a shot.
We'll talk a little Patrik when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. All right, final block here. As a reminder, this hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Little different vibe watching last night out of the Bell Center. And it's...
What did you feel?
Patrik Laine.
Yeah.
Like one guy. And I'm so happy that he's found some early success shooting the puck in the net because it's what he does best.
Yeah, and like for goal scorers, that's part of their self-worth. As stupid as that sounds to say, people genuinely associate like, I need to be doing this to be valuable, and he's doing that. So for a guy who's had some mental struggles, love to see it.
They got to get those Ducks jerseys out of the league.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
I know you don't do jersey talk, but
it's really orange for me. Really orange.
That's exactly right.
And
it's just too much orange.
It's not a professional hockey sweater. It's a roller league jersey.
We had orange every day for like 6 months, in a presidential race.
I've seen enough. Need a little breather from it.
Them going in there wearing those jerseys against the Montreal Canadiens, it's like, aren't you embarrassed that you have to put those on?
Sebastian Maniscalco playing?
No,
for
but
them?
like, think about it. Like, Trouba gets traded from the New York Rangers.
Oh,
one of the
that's
best,
a tough day when
one
you
of
see
the best sweaters of all time. And it's like, I'll get traded to the Anaheim Ducks, and we're going into the Bell Center to play the Montreal Canadiens, and I got to pull over this, not even ECHL looking jersey.
I got to ask Kip about this because when I played in the BCHL, I played junior hockey. We won the championship. We swept playoffs. We were the Vernon Vipers. We were like the pride of the league.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a university that finished 0-28 the year before, like didn't win a game. And I remember seeing the jersey in the locker room being like, ugh. Like, it just doesn't mean as much. It took a minute. I got there with that team, but you did the opposite. You went from the Whalers to the Rangers.
Yes. Yeah.
Was it different for you knowing what the jersey
Well,
meant?
is it different when you go to the outhouse and then go to the penthouse?
You know, but it is when you pull it over your head. It's like
No,
this.
I'm just teasing. Okay, as far as the uniforms are concerned, we had a pretty darn good one there the year Berkey came in Hartford.
And I will
The
say
blue.
my Seawolves jersey is
But you're
the best
talking
jersey in
about
the
when you
world.
put
It
history,
means
original
something.
six, all of it.
The Anaheim Ducks.
Yes.
I know they've won a cup, but the Montreal
Yeah,
Canadiens.
the answer is, well, there's only 6 of those things that have that type of history, right?
Yeah, but there's nice
do feel
jerseys
it.
in the league outside of the original 6.
Oh,
we're looking at one behind us here. Like, that's beautiful. There's lots of great jerseys.
When I first put on a Washington Capital jersey, I thought it was one of the coolest moments of my life.
It's a beautiful sweater.
Yeah.
Not anymore though. They butchered it too. Like
I like the white one. The throwback white one.
This is what,
not the apron string.
but like, I mean, not to get too deep
What's
into sports
scary
facts.
is I can't envision their latest jersey right now.
Yes, you can.
like
It's
the
like
throwback,
it's a dumbed down version, like a new a future version of the really nice old ones they used to have.
like the clean white with the capitals across the chest.
Google
Yeah,
Alex
no, I know the
Ovechkin.
one. It's gorgeous.
Are there stars on it?
Gorgeous. It's horrible.
It's gorgeous jersey.
No, so this is where you get into trouble with these jersey reveals, is that the Ducks put out this. They're like, we're gonna honor our old teams when we had this great logo, but we got to put this modern spin on it. It's like, no, you don't.
It's like, just make it eggplant.
Make it purple. Like, those are really nice.
Really
And
nice.
Look what the Kings did this year. They're like, you know what? We had the best jersey, the black one and the white one from the 90s. We're going back to that. So I'm passionate about jersey talk. I can't believe they put those out there. And it's so bad.
There just has to be more people that just say no. Just say we can't do that.
I actually talked, I forget, this summer I interviewed Teemu Selanne. Forget for what reason, but I did. And I asked him about it. And he was like, yeah, it's a lot of orange. I was like, Teemu Selanne said, do they not ask Teemu?
Well, Brian Burke was part of the creation of the jersey, and the original idea was to honor what I think was West Point. It's it's a military-based thing, and it's Orange County, and then there's some gold, there's some colors in there that are military, and then Orange County is the orange trim.
Yeah.
And then they just
It's got to be a huge moneymaker for teams and the
New
league,
sweaters.
and just new. And even if they suck, Sammy, they're still going to bring
And we're
in,
talking about them for 5 more minutes than we ever would have. So,
right?
if it was nice.
yeah, we wouldn't have talked about the game. But good for Laine. Shooting it in the net.
So the Board of Governors wrapped up today. Everybody's on their way back home
Yep.
from earth-shattering news like the cap may go up if they negotiate it.
Florida Panthers outdoor game.
What does that do for you?
I don't know. Won't it melt?
You know, it sounds like such a dumb thing to say, but it's like, won't it melt? You know, like I know they have Freon in the pipes, but like,
I mean,
won't it melt?
Not during the day.
I don't know how
It's
they
got to
do
be
it.
at night.
They're gonna have like
Under
a
the flood.
1 a.m. game.
Floodlights?
Yeah, what was it? Remember they
Any
had.
details? Did Elliot give us any details?
I just read Elliot's tweet to you. But what was the game
We
that they
flew
had?
all the way down there for Elliot to give us no details.
Hey, don't you spoil his fun.
But what was it? Where was the outdoor game that was in a cold location?
Was it Lake Tahoe?
Oh, yeah, the Lake Tahoe one. And then they had to like
the sun.
The sun. Who could
They
have ever
can't play the game. It is too sunny.
Whoever would have
sun.
Who did-
Who could have accounted for the sun?
man.
But then the weird visual was they went back at like midnight. Remember they went back like really late? It was pitch black. And then they had that great clip from it where McKinnon walked Pietrangelo.
Can't name a second thing from that game, but it was an unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
Where
he's
an
like,
NHL
oh,
D-man
oh, oh.
sees Nathan McKinnon come down and he just goes, oh boy.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. He walks around
Just
him.
know you're dead to rights.
Yeah,
I love
pretty
that.
good.
So the Predators have lost 7 of their last 9.
No,
is that
no,
what you
they've
said?
lost 7 in a row and
7
11
in a
of their last
row.
13.
That's it. 7 in a row.
Okay, what
11
does
13.
Barry Trotz do with that lineup? Somebody's got to go.
I want to tell you what the coach said. Here's the quote, and this is in quotation marks. We could scratch every guy in our lineup.
But unfortunately, we need players going at different times. It for sure crosses your mind, but they have to earn it.
We could scratch every guy in our lineup. How do you start as a coach? You need some tent poles to build on, and you just feel like not a single guy is playing well. And then how do you go to the locker room after you just said we can scratch every guy in our lineup?
But they won't.
Can't. They're not allowed to.
Well, you're not scratching Stamkos.
No.
Marchessault, no. Forsberg, no.
Okay. And then
I don't know.
that,
After that, does it really matter?
listen, I watched them play against
Who's
the
their
Leafs.
farm team?
Milwaukee, isn't it? No.
Sounds
Milwaukee.
right.
Isn't it? Was Milwaukee? Or maybe they were the Tampa Bay. Anyways, riveting radio.
I wonder if Ryan O'Reilly would say, I'm willing to go somewhere and try to win again.
Geez, that's interesting. I mean, that's a pretty big name and a very playoff-proven guy.
It's Stamkos.
What's
He just
his
got
contract?
there. He's not going anywhere.
How many years left for
Forsberg's
Ryan
committed.
O'Reilly?
He's not going anywhere. Marchessault, I cannot see them.
3 years, I think.
I can't see
Oh,
Marchessault.
this and just 2 more, 4.5.
Yeah, but it's also like, can it be like 3
Cheaper. Yeah.
or 3.5?
That would fetch them an asset. I mean, think the Leafs want him back?
I don't think they would mind him, but like he turned them down.
Yeah.
You got to remember that.
He doesn't want to be here.
He turned an offer from them down. So even if you're Toronto, with all due respect, Ryan O'Reilly, you got a great reputation. We love you, but you didn't want us. And so why do we want you now?
Well, the coach of your team won a Stanley Cup with him winning a Conn Smythe for them.
Okay, so if we find out that he left
He won the Conn
because
Smythe, right?
because of Sheldon Keefe, that he didn't get along with him, he didn't like his philosophy.
That would be wild.
And now he's got a new perspective on what the team's all about, and it wasn't other factors in, then I could buy into that.
Now, you have been paying some attention to rosters and potential guys to get moved this year. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're not. In a couple of days, I'll come out on sportsnet.ca with
Some names.
Yeah, some names. And it's not just, for me, it's finding out some intriguing names that may not necessarily be traded by March, but
it's not impossible.
But it's not impossible.
I heard some things.
And keep your eye on this. And if things don't happen necessarily between now and the trade deadline, they could easily carry into the draft, to free agency. And there's some teams that are looking for possibility of shaking things up. Ottawa Senators is an example. We've heard a lot of noise with Brady Tkachuk and the New York Rangers, but that whether you believe that's true or not, it doesn't change the fact that if these guys don't see a significant improvement in their consistency, they're going to rattle this thing.
But let me ask you this, so much talk about who could go out, and that's not how you get better. The Ottawa Senators, who would the Senators want or what? What type of player are the Senators lacking to get them to where they're trying to be? They just can't get over this hump right now. I don't know if you saw the quotes from Andlauer today.
Most recent ones outside of soft.
Here, I dropped this in our group chat where
Tampering?
he says, from a player standpoint, they're so young, and thank goodness, Andlauer said, if we had a core that was more mature and behaved that way, we'd be in trouble. So I think it's a process. That was in the midst of, a longer article, but it's like, I don't know. That doesn't sound. It was a great defense of his team that he tried to make, but his point is we're still young and we're still learning. They need to turn that page at some point.
Well, then stop having your entire fan base tell us they're better than the Leafs every year then.
Well, that's a you thing.
No, that's the sense. It's like, oh, who's stopping this top six? Everyone.
I do
Every
believe
year.
that there's some pressure
It's like,
for
get 90 points once ever.
to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like they can't go another year, can they?
I mean, financially, if you buy a team, you probably would like to have an extra 4 games of home gates or so.
But they are. I believe they're a good team, and I believe they're in many ways all very good hockey players. But if they lack chemistry, to your point earlier, then your job,
Chemistry,
Steve Staios, is to go out there and find of equal value or better and change the chemistry.
Maybe Ryan O'Reilly is the type of guy you need. The centerman, veteran, proven good guy. I don't know.
Well, a Claude Giroux is the veteran in that room. But
but this year,
Claude didn't win anything in Philly.
No, I know. And the Leafs did that for years. They got great veterans who hadn't won anything, but the veterans who had one that they got, David Perron is having, whatever, his year is not really, not great.
No, he's got some issues off the ice.
That's right. So not going to put it on him.
No.
A guy like Amadio wins a Stanley Cup, but he happens to be on a good team. He's a nice depth guy.
He's making a lot of money, though.
Yeah. But, right?
Right?
He's not going to step up in the room and be like, come on, boys, like grabbing him by the collar type of guy.
I don't know. Maybe he should.
And then who else? They got another guy this
How about
year.
your buddy Gregor?
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice player. I like him.
Stutzla's gone, I think, as one of those leaders. He's as untouchable as there is, along with Brady Tkachuk. I like Drake Batherson. The one that is interesting to me is Josh Norris.
Yeah. Been watching some of his film lately. He needs to play with good players to have success, I feel like.
He's quietly putting together a pretty good year.
Oh, yeah. No,
right?
I think he's a
He's
good player.
He's going to score 30-plus goals the way he's trending right now.
For sure. I think he's a good player. But, I mean, you're talking about chemistry, changing the room, big moves. Yep. I don't think trading Josh Norris for a first-round pick or whatever helps
No. That's
like,
not
you
it.
need
No, that's
NHL players.
We're talking about new bodies in.
Yeah. Oh, Nick Cousins was the other guy that they brought in. That's like you need to be contributing to the team in a big way to be able to grab guys.
I just don't think they're very good.
Huh?
I just don't think they're very good.
That's fair too.
But everybody else
against the Leafs are great. That's their game to get up for. They own the Leafs, but outside of that, they're not very good. And everybody tells you every year they're good, and it's the same mix of guys, and like they paid them all.
Let me ask you a question.
They're all like, these are our guys. We're paying them all, and then you can't.
Most of the guys they pay.
One more question here. Detroit and Buffalo.
What a game.
28. Yeah. What a
If
game.
they merge, could they make the playoffs?
So
that's a great question. Yes.
So 28 games they've each played.
Okay.
They've each won 11 games. They've each lost 13 games, and they have an OTL of 4 overtime.
We suck.
Okay. They're identical.
That's the best drop.
It's such a good drop.
They have
11, 13, and 4.
Regulation wins, right? Everything's the same.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it people are all over the Buffalo Sabres for completely sucking, and then Detroit doesn't get that same?
I think Yzerman has the history of like people think he built the team that won a cup or had a huge hand in it, and so he has this grace. And he's also Steve Yzerman. Kevin Adams is not Steve Yzerman.
Agreed. I think that's the perfect explanation.
It's kind of like that Hall of Fame, right?
I think it's part of it. Maybe it's also
a little
proximity
protection.
to Toronto.
You get a little bit more respect from the media, maybe.
I guess that's what I'm saying, Brooksy.
And one of my best buddies in the world, Keegan. It's actually his birthday today. Happy birthday, Keegan.
Happy birthday.
He's a diehard Red Wings fan, and he says that he's always talks to me about their prospects, great drafting, and all that stuff. And that's what he did in Tampa. They drafted unbelievably well. All those guys came up and contributed, and it just hasn't happened yet for the Red Wings. And his free agent signings stink.
They also lost, but they lost every draft lottery too. They
but they just haven't signed one good free agent.
No, nothing.
It was a fun show today. I don't know why, but it was sneaky fun today.
Good energy,
right? Good guests.
You still got
good friends.
30 seconds to screw it up.
Good friends.
All right. Our thanks to Ken Daneyko in our Leaf Edition hour, and then Steve Valiquette at the top of this hour. Plenty of games tonight. Pick yours. Enjoy it. And we're back. Same time, same place. Real Kyper and Bourne Show.